Let's be real. Most of us consume way too much. Our lives are filled with endless sources of entertainment. We are entertained on our way to work, when we stop at the gas station. Some of us are addicted to our phones. We pull them out when we're in line at Chipotle or at dinner with a friend. Facebook wants you to live your life on their platform. Netflix wants you to binge 14 episodes in a row. Twitch hopes that you build parasocial relationships. Amazon wants you to spend hours shopping, and YouTube will do anything to keep you on their platform. Everyone wants your attention. It's easy to get caught up in it. The truth is, we are conditioned to prioritize consumption over creation. I think that leads to a lack of fulfillment and purpose in life. When I thought about it that way, I knew that I wanted to do things differently. And the good news is, it's never too late to make a shift. But why make that shift? Why is it so important? And how do you do it? About 6 months ago, I made a change, and I want to tell you about it. It's been one of the most important changes I've made in my entire life, and it has me really excited. So in this video, I'll share with you 5 tips that have helped me to shift my mindset from a consumer to a producer, and why I think it's important. Hi, my name is Dave Jeltema, and I live on the internet. I spend almost all of my free time in front of my computer or on my phone, but it's something I'm working on. I've found a way to shift into a producer mindset, and the important bit is I'm doing that while I keep all of my hobbies. And I think that my experience could help you do the same. So hit that like button and let's get into it. First things first, what's the difference between a consumer and a producer? A consumer is an individual that uses goods or services to satisfy their needs or wants. So when you're shopping for groceries or clothes, you're being a consumer. But also when you go to the movies or listen to a podcast or read Twitter at 3 a.m. A producer, on the other hand, is an individual that creates or makes goods or services. They are the suppliers of the products or services. They engage in various activities, such as research, development, production, marketing, and sales. They do those to bring their goods or services to the market. So, some examples: a farmer who grows crops, a manufacturer who produces cars, or a software company that develops apps. But so too are web serialists, or sellers on Etsy, YouTubers, or game masters. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't go to the movies or talk to your coworkers about Game of Thrones. And it's not about only being a producer. I simply think that producing stuff is neat, and you'd probably enjoy it too. A buddy of mine recently interviewed his grandmother, and then he made a book about her for him and his family. I think that's super cool. My favorite part about being a game master is the creative process. I like designing encounters and making homebrew mechanics, and then the arts and crafts that comes with making unique props for my players. So let's talk about making this mentality shift. To do that, we must ask and answer the most important question in the universe of all time. Why? Why make a mental shift from one to the other? For me, it was because something had to change. I watched countless hours of YouTube, read like 12 different web serials as fast as the authors could produce chapters. I watched all of the popular TV shows. I went to every Marvel movie. I played way too many video games, and I stayed up way too late doom scrolling on Reddit. I mean, I still do those things, but in moderation, and it's less soul crushing. I'm not sure that's the best way to describe it. Either way, this isn't a cure for all your bad habits. It's about shifting your mentality and enjoying the process of being creative. Like I said, I still get to keep my hobbies, and you can't stop me. So as I was saying, something had to change. Let me paint you a picture. My life 6 months ago was depressing. I was depressed. Every day at work, all I could focus on was how I kept getting the short end of the stick. I would get home and I'd sit in front of a computer and I would stay there until 6 a.m., only to wake up at 2 in the afternoon, just in time to take a shower, go back to work. I spent years of my life where all of my free time went to video games and Reddit and YouTube. I have an approximate knowledge of so many things, but I probably can't explain anything I learned across the hundreds of hours that I spent watching content, because it was just background noise. I felt like I was in a dark cloud, and anytime I caught a glimpse of the outside world, It was just to see a mountain that was too impossible to climb. I was stuck in a rut, and I felt unfulfilled and disconnected from joy. And I would constantly consume without considering the impact it was having on my life. I wouldn't do anything about it. I was afraid to try. Something had to change. I had to take a leap of faith. So one day I said, screw it, and I took a small step. And then the next day, I took another small step. Now we get to the fun part, the how. How do you do it? How does it work? Is it too meta if I start a second video within this one? Top 5 tips for how to shift your mindset from consumer to producer. You'll never believe how simple number 5 is. But for real, I have 5 actual takeaways I have from having done this for a bit. Number 1, start doing. That's it. You just gotta start. If someday you want to sell art or start a business, design an indie game, or whatever, you gotta start. If you're like me, maybe you'll keep saying, I'll get around to it eventually, someday. Or maybe you're more of a, I'll do it once work slows down kind of person. It's all an excuse to not do the things that you want to do. If you're gonna do it eventually, why not start now? Nothing changes if nothing changes. My dad has a saying, it builds itself. And I think that means you gotta get the ball rolling if you're going to build momentum. Once you start, it's easier to maintain. It builds itself. And you're gonna wanna start now because you're gonna need the practice. Number 2, and I think that this one is perfect after the first, don't overthink it. There might be several reasons why you might be thinking you can't just start. Things like this have a way of becoming such an insurmountable obstacle. I personally have the habit of planning things into oblivion. I need to be certain that I've considered every angle and that I've learned all there is to learn so that I know what to expect. But again, it's just an excuse that my brain uses to stop me from doing the things that I want to do. Don't overthink it. It'll work itself out. The first things you make are going to suck no matter what. Don't overthink it. Number 3. One step at a time. I can't tell you how important this has been for me to be able to do the things that I want to do. I have struggled with motivation my entire life. So when I say that this is the single greatest tip that I can give you, please hear me. One step at a time. So if you have trouble starting, know that it's just one step at a time. If you're overthinking it, just know one step at a time. You actually can build a business. Start a YouTube channel, build a website, start a personal brand. All you have to do, take it one step at a time. This is everything to me. It's helped with my weight loss, with designing a board game, my mental health, and starting this YouTube channel. Number 4, build habits. I have worked on 7 or 8 different board game projects with a friend of mine on and off for 15 years. I decided that I wanted to actually, maybe finish one someday. So I found the time that works for me and him, and now on Friday nights we spend 2, 3, maybe 4 hours once a week, and we work on it intentionally. We push ourselves to make decisions instead of leaving everything open-ended for months at a time. And now I'm in the habit of making a board game. I wish I had more time to dive into how to properly make habits, so maybe consider checking a video out from Dr. K after this one. But for me, the biggest help has been to block off specific time slots in my week, and I'm going to use that same method to record and edit my videos. Number 5, produce. Well, duh, but no, really, go make some stuff. Make something tomorrow. Make something as often as you can. Go find some inspiration, give yourself a deadline, and go make something. The first 4 tips are to get you to this point where you make things. So to answer the big question, how do you actually shift into a producer mindset? Produce, make stuff. You do it by doing it. That's it. That's the big reveal. Ta-da! You can shift into a producer mindset by producing things. It's incredibly simple, but surprisingly difficult. Actually, I have another. Bonus tip number 6, share. I feel like it's pretty integral to the reason that I enjoy making things, and that's to share it with others. Providing value for someone else is a big part of feeling fulfilled when I'm being creative. It helps motivate me, and it generates happy chemicals in my brain. If you start and don't overthink it, taking it one step at a time while building the right habits, you're going to produce things. Congratulations, you have the winning formula. I'm not saying that this is a cure for all of your problems, but it changed my life, and I think it could help you too. I hope you can take the leap of faith. So there we go. That's my first video, and a poor choice it is because currently no one cares. All I want to do is make dope stuff for you people, but who knows where I'll end up. At the time of posting this, I am at the start of my journey, and I hope that you'll watch my career with great interest. It's my hope that if you come across this in the future, you'd leave me a comment. That would make my day. Once again, my name is Dave Jeltema. Go make something. Thank you for watching.